Hello everyone, you're welcome to the channel. My name is Daniel. Kindly click on the red button to subscribe. Like this video so it can be recommended to many other people. Help us grow this channel by subscribing and liking this video, and you can also do well to share this video as well to many other people. Thank you very much. My name is Daniel. So today on this episode I will be talking about Burning Coals. I will be reviewing the latest MountZion movie, Burning Coals. If you've not yet watched Burning Coals, head on to Damilola Magbamiloye's YouTube channel and you will understand what I'm talking about. All right, let's dive right into the review. All right, Burning Coals is a story written by Damilola Magbamiloye. It was initially a book that was converted into visuals. It was directed by Damilola Magbamiloye. It was edited by Francis Dairo, Festus O. Dairo, and Joshua Magbamiloye. The makeup artist on the set of Burning Coals is Adenike Owa. The DOP on the set was Damilola Magbamiloye, and there were other camera handlers as well. So the casting: Elvon Jarrett in Burning Coals plays Akin, Bumi Bamitale plays Funke, Ayo Badejo plays Sheyi, and Victor Ogunbade plays Bayo, and God Rainet Owa plays Bolu. These are the Coals. These are the main characters in Burning Coals. Burning Coals, briefly, I won't be giving you much spoilers, so you can head on to Damilola Magbamiloye's YouTube channel to get the full gist. The Burning Coals is a particular family that are going through their trying times. The father is the womanizer, He drinks, he smokes, he drinks, and he womanizes. The mother, who played by Oluwabumi Bamitale, is the mother of the house. She's a disciplinarian mother, but she's weighed down by the challenges she's facing in her marriage. And the challenges she's facing in her marriage led to bitterness, and at the end of the day, it worsened the situation of the family. And if not for the tiny intervention of God, the family would have been in a deeper mess than it was. Some people would have died, and a lot of things would have happened if not for the tiny intervention of the Holy Spirit. Ladies and gentlemen, I won't be giving away too much. Head on to Damilola Magbamiloye's YouTube channel so you can get the full gist of the storyline. All right, let's dive in straight to the things I really loved about the movie and the things that I felt didn't really sit quite well with me about Burning Coals, the movie. So for the things that stood out for me for Burning Coals, the movie, was the acting. Bamitale Oluwabumi did a wonderful job as the female lead character. She did a great job in interpreting the roles. She understood the character and she soaked herself deeply into it, and she delivered. It was an outstanding performance. Everyone did greatly. The Coals in general did greatly. Elvon Jarrett is a fantastic and a great and brilliant actor, so you can't take that away from him. All the actors did a great job in interpreting their roles well. I can't fault any of them when it comes to the acting. The editing of the movie was great as well. The color grading was good, and the story and the casting was great. I think the picture quality was also very good. The casting, all the characters suited the roles and they did justice to their roles. The story was brilliant. The script and the dialogue was brilliant as well, and I love that fact. So the picture quality was great, and I love the sound because I heard everything that the cast were saying, and there was no interruption. There was no ambient sound coming from left and right, and the sound design to some extent was very, very good. So I give kudos to Damilola Magbamiloye for a wonderful story. Damilola Magbamiloye interpreting the story. If you've read the novel and you've watched the film, you discover that when you are trying to interpret a novel into a film, it's not actually easy. But Damilola Magbamiloye understood the story and he was able to depict it visually. He was able to bring it visually to life and not missing out on what the writer is talking about in the original story. Burning Coals was a good movie. Now to the things that didn't really sit quite well with me about Burning Coals, the movie. The first thing is the fight scene where Elvon Jarrett's character and Oluwabumi Bamitale's character were fighting. I think that was the first scene. I wish the makeup artist could put some artificial sweat on them to make it more realistic. Their faces were not really realistic for a fight scene. I wish the makeup artist put on some sweat on them, artificial sweat, probably on their shirts and on their clothes, to make it intense, to make it more intense. The next thing that didn't really sit quite well with me about Burning Coals was the part where Oluwabumi Bamitale, who played Funke, said to her son that it's almost time for dinner, or it's time for dinner. And then looking at the reflection of light from the window, it was looking like a hot afternoon. The light was too strong for an evening. The light was too strong to depict an evening. So I felt that should have been controlled, probably by closing the curtain and then using the normal lighting or some other way to make it more believable for evening or dinner. Another thing that didn't really sit quite well with me about Burning Coals was the accident scene, the home accident scene where Oluwabumi, Funke's daughter, in the kitchen got burnt by oil in the kitchen. I just felt like that was a major accident and she healed from it too quick, and I felt it was too major for her to just get over it like that. Even if she had gotten over it, at least let there be a plaster on her hand, let there be a bandage on her hand, you know, oil dropping from the gas down to the ground. It should have splashed all over her face and splashed on her legs. It's not only her hands that would be affected. I think it wasn't really a minor accident, it was a major one. So she shouldn't have healed from it so quick like that, no matter what. Next thing was that I felt like observing the sound of burning coals, the dialogue of the actors, I just felt like ADR was used to replace the original sound that was taken or that was got from the movie sets. I feel like ADR was used, and using ADR sometimes make the scene reduces the realistic nature of the story. It reduces the realisticness of the particular scene. It reduces the realisticness of, if there's a word like that, it reduces the realisticness of the particular character or the particular the lesson that particular scene is trying to depict. So I felt like some of the scenes ADR was used, like the sound on set was lost along the way, and then they had to call back the actors to the studio to voice out those lines again, and then they just overlapped it in the editing procedure. Another thing that didn't really sit quite well with me about Burning Coals the movie was the costume for Tokunbo Jarrett's character and Gloria Bamiloye's character. I felt like if this is a church or a Sunday service and these are people leading the service, I just felt like corporate wear could have done better in depicting that particular scene. I just felt like corporate wear, you know, mostly ministers put on corporate wear, especially on Sunday morning or on a Sunday service. To make that scene more believable, they could have put on a corporate wear and put probably hats, to wear their hats or fascinators or something like that to make it churchy or to make it look like a Sunday morning. The whole scene now looked like it was just a women meeting or a women meeting or a tribal women meeting. It didn't really look like a church service. It didn't really look like a church service. So I felt like the costume for Gloria Bamiloye's character and also for Tokunbo Jarrett's character, who was the doctor, didn't really sit quite well for that particular scene as a church. So looking at that particular scene, the church scene where Funke went to church, that scene wasn't well depicted as a church. Looking at the scene, it looked like it was just a meeting. Okay, is this a Sunday school? Is this a church service? Did she walk into a church service? It wasn't looking like a church service. You could see people in groups, in different groups. Was it after the service? Was it a Sunday school? If it's a Sunday school, then you could hear them share the grace at the end of the Sunday school. I believe we don't really share the grace at the end of the Sunday school except at the end of service. So I just felt like it didn't really look like a church service based on the way it was depicted, based on the way they were shared into groups and all that. It should have been more clearer, or it should have been clearer to us. Another thing that didn't really sit quite well with me about Burning Coals was the scene where the Coals were going to church in a car, whereby Funke was driving her children to church. They went this direction, and then when they were coming back from church, they were still going the same direction. I felt like when they are coming from the church, it's supposed to be this direction, not this direction. But they were going this direction to church, and then when they were coming back from church, they were still going this direction. So I felt like it didn't really work. The depiction was not really okay. Another thing that didn't really sit quite well with me about the Coals is that I really wanted to know, were the Coals always like this from the beginning of their marriage? Were the Coals always like this? If the Coals were always like this, then what happened? What led to the problem? That means there must be something that went wrong that led to their present predicament. Were the Coals always like this? Because when you look at Funke's first daughter, the first child, you can see her dressing. She's not really the wayward type, though you can tell that her mother is a disciplinarian, but she's not really the wayward type. The kind of dresses she puts on, the kind of hairstyle she makes, you know, if the Coals were like this from the beginning, there's a way they will look like, you know, this kind of swagger couple. They won't really look like a born again, this kind of born again family in terms of their appearance. there's a way they will look in terms of makeup, lipstick and all that. They will probably be into all those flashy lifestyle in terms of makeup and all that. But the Coles were not looking really flashy based on their dressing. Look at Funke's first daughter. She was always dressing like probably a normal Christian. She was even dressing like a normal born-again Christian right from time. So were the Coles always like this? Where the Coles, did something happen along the line that led to their present predicament? I wanted to know. And that wasn't really well established in Burning Coals, the movie. Another thing that didn't really sit quite well with me about Burning Coals was the scene where when Funke's son was in the school, and then his friend who had evangelized to him was telling him that he was like, who is now going to disciple you now that you are a new convert? Who is going to disciple you? And then she now suggested Copper Ezekiel, and then she said, let us go to him quickly before break is over. And you can tell that there was nobody in the school. The whole school was empty from the exterior. The whole school was empty and there were no noise. When break is on in a particular school, you can hear noises of students. So I just felt like sound of, even if without having to visualize us to see students, probably sound of students would have been played in the background, so we can tell that, okay, actually this is actually break time. But there was nothing like that. The whole school was empty. Visually, the whole school was empty, and there were no sounds of students to tell us that, okay, this is actually break time. And you could see that particular scene looked like closing time, like the school had already closed, and they were trying to establish that it was break time, because you could see her putting on her school bag. So I felt like there was no need for her to put on her school bag for that particular scene, since it's still break time. So they should have depicted that scene, or that particular scene, better than they did. Okay, this one is not actually a flaw. I just feel like the character Mr. Emeka played in this movie, I just felt like there's beginning to be a kind of stereotype for Emeka's character. If you watch games, you see him playing almost the same role. I just feel like he shouldn't be oftenly stereotyped for that particular character. I feel like gospel film directors should begin to explore this man in other roles as well, to build up or to explore much of his potential. I see that he's a very, very talented actor. If you watch him very well, you know that he's gifted. So I don't want him to be boxed. I don't want gospel filmmakers to box his talent in one box. I feel like they can explore him in other roles as well, so there won't be any stereotype. All right, so the final thing that didn't really sit quite well with me about Burning Coals is I felt like I had a question, like what is the writer trying to achieve with Elvon Jarrett being Goke's lecturer, and Tokumbo Jarrett, who is Funke's church member, being Emeka's doctor, and also Goke dating Elvon Jarrett's character's daughter. I just felt like the characters were too interwoven and were too closely related, and it's like it kind of boxed the storyline into a particular circle. I just felt like, yes, the doctor could have been another person apart from Funke's church member, and the story would have still been well told and well depicted. Though probably there is something the writer is trying to achieve which I can't really figure out. If you can figure it out, kindly comment in the comment section and enlighten us, please. You enlighten us. At the end of the day, we can only talk all these things, we can only speak or we can only talk. We do not know how the story was received from the Holy Spirit, which I actually believe that a story can be received from the Holy Spirit. This is just a personal opinion, no hard feelings or anything like that. You can share your opinion in the comment section and let's know your thoughts about Burning Coals. Thank you very much for watching this movie review. Once again, my name remains Maurice Daniel. Bye for now. Ensure to subscribe to the channel and like this video. Ensure to like this video. Please like this video so it can be recommended to many other people. I'll see you all later in the next one.